me again. It's the 7th Lair podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the 7th Lair podcast. I am Kieran and I'm joined by Sarge, Vengeance and Wildcat. How are we doing today, guys?
Yo, what's up,
Doing
guys?
good.
Doing very well over here.
Nice.
How are you guys?
Halloween's tomorrow.
Yes.
We made it to episode 8
We did.
Yeah.
and we're
We
better
have.
than ever.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty well.
So normally I'd start here by asking how your last 2 weeks have been, but it's been literally 7 days since the last podcast. So how's your last week been?
To report, I guess.
Hey, I had a eventful week, and by that I mean one day, and then for the rest of the week I was like perishing. I had a family day out with my dad and my brother. Went to a theme park, had a good time, took some wonderful photos of some lions. Got instructed by Anubis to cause terror. You know, just the usual.
Sounds exciting to me.
Yeah, it was a fun time. What about you guys?
I've had a busy week in terms of I've now got a job, which I start next week, which I'm so excited for.
Hey.
Working at a university local to me. And I've been just mad busy with the Wall Street Bulls. So I'm on their team. We won't talk about them too much today, or really at all, apart from their flaw, because this is a spooky episode today. But yeah, I've been mad busy with them and getting their project out. They did a pre-sale on Wednesday. They then did public sale Thursday, and the reveal was yesterday, or it was something like that, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, it's been a busy old session working with Cam Rackham for that session. Holy shit, English words.
Good job. Well done.
But yesterday, I picked up a Winterton, and I'm very happy about it. The first
Ooh,
piece.
congratulations.
So yeah, you'll see, for the people that are watching the recorded version of this podcast on our YouTube, you'll see when we talk about Winston later that I'll be showing off the piece that I own because it's bloody beautiful, mate.
Very
Excited.
nice. Very nice.
Also got a shout out to self-titled album for Avenged. It is 14 years old today.
14, baby.
Jesus.
14.
Way to make everyone feel old.
Shut up, you're young, okay?
I was about 4 when that came out. It's fine.
Dude, I was 16, man.
God.
Jesus.
Yeah, we were like in our teens, Wildcat. You're like an infant.
I was barely starting school. That's great. That's great to think about, isn't it?
God.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, today's episode. Well, Wildcat, you explain it, because my front door is about to go, so please explain. Thank you very much.
Great. So let me tell you something that's a bit spooky, as Halloween happens to be. Well, in about 2 hours for me. But obviously it is tomorrow. It is the spooky season. We're finally here. We figured, you know what? Let's do something a bit festive, a bit, to the season. So what we're gonna do is if you've seen our Twitter, we talked about a couple of projects. Just giving a little bit of, hey, this is an artist who is quite spooky, and we think you should check him out. So we're gonna talk a bit more about those artists today, and we're gonna kick it off with a personal favorite of mine. I talk about them pretty much every episode of this show, and now I finally get the excuse to just ramble on about them and properly go into detail about why I'm so excited about them. So, 'tis the Wicked Craniums, of course it is. How could it not be? So, a little bit of background. They minted on the 14th of June of this year. It's crazy to think it's been like, July, August, September. It's been a good couple months now, 3 or 4 months. I can't count, it's fine. And they've had a lot going on. If you haven't been paying attention, there's been several drops and collabs and events that they've held and merch drops, which have been very exciting. So we kicked it off with the Stallions, And they were kind of like the gateway to kind of accessing all the other collabs and other drops. So if you had a cranium, you could mint a stallion that corresponded in terms of number. They didn't match like in looks necessarily, but the numbers matched. And you could get one stallion per cranium. So you minted all of those. And then for drops like the Pop Wonder collab and the Halos collab, you needed a stallion with your cranium. And so for Pop Wonder, it was you got a specific Pop Wonder piece, depending on how many pairs you had. And then for Halos, it was the staking contract. So the Wicked Craniums did something that was entirely new to the space, and they developed a staking contract that you put forward your cranium and stallion pairs, and in exchange you got halos for each pair, and you're getting also comic book pages, which have just revealed. I think it was yesterday or day before they revealed. So that's very cool, and that all bases on having pairs. And the staking contract was the first to, because most of the time when you stake, you get some sort of token or something. This is the first time where you actually got an NFT in return. So I thought that was very cool.
Really cool, yeah, definitely agree. Changing the game there.
Oh, absolutely. And there's going to be a lot more of these staking contracts in the future, by the looks of it. Everyone's very excited. So we're going to have fun seeing what that's all about. There was also the Archangel collab. So this was kind of more based on activity within the community. So there was a total of 90 pieces for Craniums holders. Top 20 in the activity leaderboards, they all got one. And then there was a community vote for 10 members of the community to also receive a piece. And then the rest were randomly distributed to holders. So I think it was like 30 new holders and then 30 craniums who had held for a while. And those pieces were absolutely beautiful. I was very lucky to receive one at random. So thank you for that, guys. So that's very cool. But I want to also address something that's actually going down tonight. So you may have heard there's a lot of talk about New York. There's a big NFT meet and event going on. Well, Cranium's getting in on that. They're having a very special bone shake party up in New York City right now, which oddly enough includes axe throwing, because who would have thought? Why not? So they're having a big bone shake party, but the cool thing about the bone shake parties is not only are they real life events, but they're also held in the metaverse. So we have a cranium in there called Strawberry Sith. He's got this huge crypto voxels world with like a really badass temple and just general kind of party area. And we're all going to hang out in there. And there's going to be like giveaways and all kinds of good stuff, good vibes. So that's going on in, I think, about 4 hours as of recording, which is very exciting. And I'm going to be there. So come and hang out if you have the time for it.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, they're definitely providing a lot for their community. And speaking of community, before we go on to the aesthetics of the actual NFTs themselves, I want to talk out or give a massive shout out really to the Wicked Craniums community. I know for at least me, they were my first, and they are to me still the best community out there. They are so willing to help out newcomers to the scene or to the game, and they're just always engaging. So yeah, the community for the Wicked Craniums. If you're listening to this, I know it's episode 8, but if you're listening to this far in and you're thinking, where should I start with NFTs? I want to dip my toes into a project that's currently, unfortunately, got a low floor, but that's also kind of helpful for newcomers. But you want to learn more about NFTs and stuff like that, and you want to have like live chat with people. The Wicked Craniums Discord is where it's at, in my opinion, and I'll defend that till the end.
Absolutely. I can vouch for that too. While my first NFT was an ITE, the first community I was properly in was Craniums. And the help they gave me was just, you know, above and beyond. They have the nicest people, they have the nicest team. Couldn't fault them at all. Really proud to be part of that community. I feel like I missed something. Have I missed something? Talk about Steve.
Well,
Just.
we can move on to the aesthetics of the actual NFT.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about aesthetics because, you know, you couldn't get spookier than just some really badass skulls. You know, they've. Where do I even begin?
Well, I'll start quickly by saying, so for the people watching the recorded show, on the screen you can see currently, this was my first ever NFT. I've sadly had to sell it recently to a good friend of ours, Deformance. He's looking after it for me until I grab him back. But you can see by looking at it, like you've got the nice coloured background, but more to the point of the actual cranium itself, like how clean the skull looks. It's great for a profile picture. Like, there are so many different varieties of the skulls, of course. There are over 10,000 of these babies. And you can just see that it's just, they all look crisp, they look defined, and they just look cool as hell, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I have several favorite traits. You know, the mohawk trait, the motorsuit trait is one of my favorites as well. You know, they've all got different bone colors, which I think is really cool. You know, just kind of gives them their own uniqueness. You know, there's so many defining traits. The punk leather jacket, that one's very nice. And we even went one step further with the aesthetics for Halloween. And I was happy to be a part of designing Halloween costumes for all of the Craniums. So we set up a website, wickedcostumes.org, where I made up a bunch of different shirts that had like bones on them because, you know, why not have a skeleton wear a skeleton shirt? You know, how silly is that? It's silly, but it's brilliant, right? And, you know, I made up a bunch of suits of different colors, and you can just go onto there, find your cranium, and then put on whatever suit you want, and then if it needs a bit of adjusting, that can be done. You know, and I feel like that's going to be something we're going to continue to do, perhaps in the future. I'd certainly love to make more costumes because, you know, I genuinely think the aesthetics are just top notch, just so much you can do with it. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to just what the Craniums can do. We've also got some sick merch, so, you know.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I own some of the merch myself. I've got one of the t-shirts from the first initial merch drop. They've had a second one since, which is really cool.
Very nice. I got merch 2.0, so it's cleaner, but very nice.
Yeah. What I'll say is, back to this next quickly, whilst I love the one that's currently on screen for YouTube viewers, an ideal one would be a gold cranium with a crown because they just look amazing.
Yes, beautiful.
All right, so that's we mentioned Craniums first because again they were our first project, and yeah, like I say, community is key, and they are the best out there. So, you got anything else to add on the Craniums?
Just love them. I just
love them.
You know, I fell in love with them at first sight, and I'm glad that's a project I've kind of stuck around with my whole NFT life. Feels like years.
Cool. So, let's move on to our second project of this podcast, the very wonderful Sean Keaton.
Yes, Mr. Sean Keaton. So, I found out about his stuff quite recently, and he's got such a unique, beautiful style. You know, it is a mix of, you know, dark and absolute, just amazing colors. Like, his style is absolutely beautiful. So quite a bit of background because I didn't actually know much about this guy myself until we dug into it. Correct. So Sean Keaton is a LA-based gallery artist, muralist, and video game art director. His paintings are kind of like a manic day-glow punk rock celebration of the fact that the very things that make us feel anxious and broken are what makes us most relatable and vibrant, and how we connect to each other. So You know, you look at any of his pieces, it stands out immediately. It's bright. It really stands out in a crowd. You know, it's something different. You know. So with the video game art director side of things, he was art director for Sega games, Hidden Variable and Three Rings. He displays his paintings in galleries such as Gallery 1988, Giant Robot, and Gallery Nucleus. Competes in Secret Wars, which is the world's largest live art battle, which honestly is something I've never heard of until we researched this, and honestly, I think that's amazing. Also animates a stand-up comedy show Picture This, with comedians including Adam Conover, Jimmy Pardo, and Margaret Cho. And his animated shorts have also appeared on Nickelodeon at festivals, which, again, I didn't know, but now that you kind of have that information, you're just like, yeah, okay, that actually makes sense, especially the Nickelodeon thing. Like, it just kind of fits that vibe in a way, which I think is really cool. Sean's got plenty of experience in video game art directions, also made public appearances. So, you know, it is great that people like him are in the NFT space, sharing their art, and, you know, just being able to own a piece, it's just beautiful, right? So, definitely
100%. Yeah, like, his art is, like, obviously keeping with the spooky vibe, but his art is just so, like, magical in its own way. Like, it's, like, when you think about, like, Halloween or spooky art or kind of like gothic art or whatever, you expect, like, the darkness and the things to look cool, but the amount, like, the way he uses his colour in his art is just spectacular, in my opinion. Like, the one that I've currently got on screen is the one that Mr. M. Shadows owns himself, with the eyeballs and the spiral kind of thing with the skeleton in the middle of his head popped off. It just looks...
Oh, is that Ego Death?
Maybe? It looks super appealing to the eye regardless.
Yeah. The one thing I love about Sean's work is just the kind of mix of, like, the spooky and the cartoon vibes. You know, you got the usually very dark backgrounds and then all these bright colors that completely contrast it. And then, like, just the cartoony characters, and it's a brilliant blend. You know, when people create art, they usually tend to stick to, like, one genre. They either want to be, like, super realistic and fit with the vibe, or they want to be cartoony and goofy and kind of more lighthearted. So when you kind of get the collision of those two things, it's really well done.
Yeah, for real. Just to clarify, this art piece that you're seeing now is Spiraling into Infinity. It's not Ego Death.
Oh, okay. I can't see it, so...
No, that's fine. Yeah.
All I can think of is... I know Matt did get Ego Death, which is just really cool.
Yeah.
So, so also for holders, he's doing something very cool tonight. Tomorrow for Halloween. And he's doing a little airdrop for everyone who currently holds one of his pieces. I'm actually looking at it on Twitter right now. It's an animated candle character with, like, a pumpkin skull and a knife, and it is beautiful. So if you ever get a chance, go and check that out, because what a piece. What a piece.
Such creativity. We tend to see a lot of projects doing the same thing, not necessarily in Halloween projects, but obviously we know there's so many, like, animal-based projects, or certain, like, a lot of projects are the same in terms of not necessarily style, but, like, idea. Whereas this one is just so. I'd say this and another one we'll talk about later. They're taking it in their own particular route. Like, I can see, in a year's time, I can see a random piece, and I'll know, that's Sean Keaton, straight away.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's just so interesting in every piece, whilst kind of on the same pathway. It's so different. Like, I can love each piece differently. I adore pretty much, if not all, of Sean Keaton's work so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all hand-drawn as well. Like, it's all one of a kind, straight from this mastermind. It's not generated like a lot of pieces are, and it's not really like a profile project. profile picture project either.
No.
You know, this is full on just art. This is beautiful art. Very collectible kind of pieces, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
So I dig it. I really dig it. His
Yeah.
pieces are on my watch list. I need him.
Yeah. He's like, I think apart from the obvious death bats, I think he's the next piece that I really want to dig into now that I've got my Winston.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm keeping a keen eye on Sean Keaton's work.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we should
Alright.
add on Keaton, or should we move on to the next one?
I believe we should move on. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, let's fire away. So what you're seeing on your screen right now, if you're watching on YouTube, is Goth Girlfriends, a project by He Creative, who is also the artist for who we'll speak about later, the Death Bats. Funny, heard about them before. No surprise there. So yeah, He Creative has just released these. They are actually what you're looking at now is in fact Vengeance's Goth Girlfriend. They own this one that you're looking at now, and yeah, so they are still quite a fresh new project. They've been released on the Solana currency rather than Ethereum, which we obviously, as you know, if you've listened to this before, we pretty much only cover Ethereum-based projects just because that is the most common tool or currency, and OpenSea's there. So yeah, Goth Girlfriends, I think there's about 8,000 left, maybe 7,500 left to mint, and that is currently costing 0.666 Solana. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
So not much history about the actual project being so brand new, to the fact they're still minting. But what a really cool thing that He Creative is doing so far is that people that are owning, they've not even finished minting, and people that owned these are already getting airdropped extra things to their wallets, which I think is really cool. That's showing that there's passion behind it, and it's showing that, like, look, you were here early, be rewarded for it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I really like the Goth Girlfriends art. It's definitely a piece or a collection that I'm gonna try and delve into at some point, especially because like it's on Solana, and as you were mentioning, you know, we normally talk about ETH, and so it's kind of a good way to venture into Solana, you know, as a first project, just kind of like, okay, this is cool. It's a good learning. I'd say it's a good way to learn about a new project and a new, you know, a new currency, a new platform. So that's cool. I'm just looking at, because He Creative also has an Instagram where they have a lot of very cool art. It's all like comic book style, you know. So this isn't just, you know, some random artist. This is a guy who's really got a lot of passion for his work, and you know, it is so cool that he's not only, you know, making his own project with the Goth Girlfriends, but also working on Death Bats as well. Like, it is really cool. He's a very talented guy. And I'll be really excited to see where the Goth Girlfriends are taken, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm intrigued to see how they progress further. Talking more aesthetically, so as you can see, really they're more cartoony than like things like the Craniums, for example, but they're also a different style of animation from things such as laser lions or koalas, whereas they're obviously quite like a computer generated image, whereas these do have a more like hand drawn aesthetic that makes it seem kind of more pleasing in some ways than others.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it doesn't feel like, oh, this has been automated for me kind of thing. So I get a more of appreciation out of it because of that.
Yeah, it's got that comic book style to it, you know, which links back to a lot of his other works as well. So I think that's a cool way to, you know, really make the most of, you know, his style, his talents, and kind of just show it off to the world, just like, hey, you know, I made these, and now I'm gonna, you know, create this really cool NFT collection to kind of really show off the style, you know.
Absolutely.
And I love the kind of the, let's say, real life inspirations, because there have been some celebrities that have been turned into girlfriends, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
So people like Paris Hilton, Hayley Williams, and
Even
Shadows.
Shadows has his own version of his goth girlfriend. Like,
Yep.
female Shadows.
There was one of Sid as well, if I'm correct.
Oh, really?
I swear I saw one. I can't remember where. I swear I
We'll
saw
call
one.
him Mary Shadows or
Also-
Marissa Shadows.
There's Val too.
There's also one as Val.
Yeah, there
Oh
is. Yeah,
yes, let's go. That's so good.
yeah. Shadows put up a poll.
yeah.
Like, which one's better, Val or Matt? And everyone's like,
Oh
"Sorry,
yeah,
mate,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Val."
Of course, that was on his Twitter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. And yeah, there was celebrities like Kourtney Kardashian and Reese Witherspoon as well. So, there's quite a few recognizable goth girlfriends, which I think just kind of adds, it's a bit of fun and it's a great way to kind of just have a really cool piece,
Yeah, it's different. It's a different vibe to any other project on here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. This is what I like about all the projects we're covering. They've all got like their own very unique style and just their own way of expressing themselves. So,
Yeah,
and that's
I
what we
agree.
love. That's what we love with NFTs. You don't want something that just looks the same as everything else. You want something that stands out and has its own kind of expression and statement. Just like, this is what I am. Not like anything else. And I think Goth Girlfriends achieves that quite well.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. Alrighty. So we spoke about goth girlfriends.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Bones Club, I think. So
Yep.
Bones Club are currently in their second kind of chapter, I'd say. Like, they had the Bones Club Heritage, which, quick side note, their floor right now is criminally low. We'll talk about their floors later, of course. But Bones Club Heritage minted, was it? I think it was 1K bones, and the part 2, version 2, which is now just, as you know, at Bones Club, has 10,000. They're still minting. I think they hit around the 4K mark recently, but I'm willing to be corrected. So Bones have been around for a hot minute. They're based, I know at least one of the mods, I think the whole team, but at least one of the the mods or creators are based in Australia. Shout out to Ren, who gave us a statement a few episodes back that helped us out with the episode. Their aesthetic, so I've heard comparisons from some people, like, oh, they're just like a different version of the Craniums, and I can't disagree much more, because yes, okay, it's a skull, it's a skull with some clothing, but the aesthetic overall, like, whilst Craniums has that more crisp, defined look, and this is in no way an insult, the Bones go for a more fluid look, I'd say. Like, the different colours of skulls, it's more cartoony, it's more like fun to look at, I'd say. Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yeah.
It's more fun to look
Yeah.
at in terms of like the animation on it, rather than it being better to look at.
Yeah. It's got a more kind of fun style to it, I'd say, It's kind of like you see cartoony skulls out there, and it's kind of a unique spin on that. Just it's got a good vibe to it, It's like not as serious, but obviously it's still a serious project that are doing quite well for themselves,
Yeah, 100%, totally agree. Yeah, they're like, it's a solid team. I'm just trying to, like, I won't keep talking for a second because I have.
Yeah,
had a
sure.
moment.
So, yeah, so they got a lot of interesting traits, both within the Heritage Collection and in the version 2 collection, especially version 2 having lots of different, lots more unique kind of bone skins, which I think is really cool. There's also a lot of pop culture references, so, there's sports stars in there, there's kind of references to musicians, so there's kind of stuff that people will notice and go, oh yeah, I recognize that, which is really cool. And honestly, I just love the style. I got my first bones as part of the V2 collection, which has got a Mike Tyson tattoo.
Nice.
As one of the traits, which I absolutely adore. It's got like a sombrero and a nice jacket. Really clean. Like, I'm absolutely in love with it.
Yeah, I ended up buying 3 bones on the version 2 mint. I was like, let's do it.
Oh, really?
I feel like I'm in. But really, like, part of it, I was planning to get one anyway because I like the project and I missed out on Heritage.
Yeah.
But the Discord, the night of the Bones version 2 mint, it was delayed by a few hours because of something. But I just had so much fun in that Discord. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to stick around here and I'm going to bone quite a few. I'm going to bone quite a few mints. And yeah, I was really impressed. Granted, I am quite bad at sticking around in Discords for long when I'm a busy man. But
Yeah.
I'm always keeping an eye on the Discord there, see what's going on, and like there's announcements to come. Like I know that Ren and like the rest of the team, they do a weekly, I believe, or at least it was weekly, Twitter Spaces chat. Well, sometimes they have people on. They've had Shadows on before. They've had Brandon Salah from Atreyu on, but they're always keeping their people, like their project fan base, if you want to call them that, in the know. That they keep on, like they're always being informative, and things may get delayed at sometimes, but they're always on top of it with letting people know. Like they're going to be entering the metaverse at some point. They've partnered with a team called the Nemesis, which is run by game studio Undo Studios, to create a new experience for Bone Club NFT holders. They're going to be releasing details for that over time if they haven't already. And it seems like they've got a Halloween virtual event in the graveyard to celebrate, Halloween members only. So they're always keeping things going on for their fan base, which, again, we always push on this podcast, and it is just overall true that an art can look beautiful, but if especially on like large arts like 10K, if the community's not there, it's going nowhere. So keeping everyone on top of what they're doing is just one little way that it keeps the Bone Clubs, in my opinion, like more of a true brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Project.
Yeah, and I heard they've also got companions coming.
Ooh, tasty. Is that for Heritage or for both?
I'm not entirely sure. I need to check the details. I think, apparently that's new only, if I'm reading this info correct. So that's very exciting.
Love it.
So we shall see how that develops. I'm very excited to see about it because I heard about it the other day and I'm just like, I want to see that. I want to get one. You know?
Yeah.
If the current Bone Clubs like the V2 already looks so good, like, you know, what are they gonna whip up for us that's gonna look, you know, even better?
Yeah. Like I say, it's wild that their floor for Heritage is so low. But
it makes me sad. Can we talk about the samurai armor trait, please, just for a quick second, because I love that trait.
You fire away.
Okay, I'm actually really gutted because this trait didn't come back in V2, but in a way, scarcity, it's really cool. Samurai armor, everyone loves me. Everyone knows that if you had to hang around with me, it's all I talk about. Samurai armor, beautiful. It's just a really nice trait, and this is one cool thing that Bones Club did with their traits when they introduced the new collections. They retired a lot of the old traits, so it kind of gives them their own value as well as them just looking amazing. So, good move, I think.
Yeah. To clarify my previous statement, the Halloween thingamajiggy in the graveyard is tomorrow, which makes sense because it's actually Halloween tomorrow.
Hey, Craniums tonight and Bones tomorrow. It's a very busy weekend.
Yeah, legit.
Awesome stuff.
Shout out in the chat, Ross, for the Tidbit Season mod down there, so that's cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, so moving on. So we've covered 4 projects thus far. We've got the Craniums, we've got Sean Keaton, we've got Golf Girlfriends, and the Burns. So let's move on to another project which I'm really liking, Almost Fancy.
Yes, allow me to talk about them because this is a project I was actually introduced to thanks to someone on the Avenged Discord, and I love it. So they're quite a small collection in the fact that they've only got like 50 kind of main skulls, and then there's some collaboration skulls with different artists, which are absolutely stunning, by the way. But they have a roadmap that shows that there's going to be more coming in the future, so I think it's like 100 in the next lot on a schedule, and then I think it's 200 after that. But they've got this really nice style, so it's they're quite unique, actually. They're not like your kind of standard profile picture project where it's like a base with just different traits on. These skulls can take all kinds of shapes. So there's a cat skull one that is my personal favorite because I am a wildcat, and cats are just my absolute favorite thing. But they've got one that's got like lasers shooting out of it, and it's like two skulls merged into one. There's some gold skulls. I think there's like 5 or so. So they're very unique to each other in this collection. And they got a pretty decent floor as well. It's like 0.5 or something. We'll talk more about that later, though. But they're doing quite well for themselves, and I have a nose in their Discord every now and then, and they're having a really good time in there. Just a very, very nice, positive community from what I see. So, yeah, I quite dig them. They're definitely more of the kind of collectible kind, I think. But, man, are they beautiful. And I love the fact that they're collaborating with different artists within their community to create something that just stands out amongst the rest,
100%, yeah. Like you said, the skulls are like the design of like the base design is similar. It's a skull facing the same way with a kind of funky background at times, but every single skull itself is just wildly different from the other, if that makes sense. Same shape, same kind of like aspect of design, but yeah, some of these look great. Like the one that I've currently got on screen. Oh, that's not the one I thought I had. That's a cool one too, but there's like a red and black one with lasers shooting out the right hand side of the eye. It's the one I put on the Twitter.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, that one's a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
There's a couple of animated ones as well, which I believe were community ones. And the first collab piece they did is like this really cool, like neon colored one, kind of similar to the Sean Keaton pieces we were talking about earlier. Just in terms of like the color scheme, but it's got like the back of the skulls exploding, and it really it's something that's going to catch your attention, which, as we've been saying this whole show, like, when you get into NFTs, everyone's fighting to get noticed. It's just like the art world in general. So having a unique style that really stands out and catches your eye, and then, any added utility onto that as well, like, the more you can provide, the better. So.
Legit. They are on my list as well, like I mentioned earlier. Sean Keaton's next, and then Almost Fancy to complete my skull collection.
Yeah, this is the problem. We keep finding more and more projects, especially the spooky ones, at least for me anyway, because I'm just a massive fan of spooky things. But you just keep bumping into more and more projects. It's like, oh, I've got to try and prioritize, but I don't want to because I just want everything.
Yeah, for real. All right, so anything else from Almost Fancy?
Yeah, one last one. They did a Deathbat style one. Skull 41. It's beautiful. Check it out. It's great.
Yeah, I'll be finding that after this show's over for sure.
Yeah, they also have souls and hearts and glyphs. So it's like collecting these different pieces grant you kind of more. It gives you like perks, I think.
So you read that out.
I'm trying to remember the combination.
So
have you got that?
Yeah, I'm on the OpenSea now. So glyphs grant various perks to holders, from special raffles to custom skulls and more. Some glyphs can be merged with skull, heart, and soul pairs to create additional benefits. They've got something called creatures, which is collecting a skull, a heart, and a soul will grant the holder a unique 1/1 creature created from the 3 items. Skull defines the theme, soul defines the vibe, and heart defines the soul.
Ooh.
Very exciting, yeah. Including certain glyphs and glyph combos burn the glyphs, but ties perks to the created creature. Yeah, they thought this stuff out, man.
Yeah, that's quite clever. It is kind of similar to how we were talking about the Craniums and the Stallions, but it kind of takes it one step further with, each piece defining what you're gonna get. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, for real. All right. So
it gives you that incentive to collect different things, to try and get one that vibes with you.
Yeah, 100%. 100.
Love it.
All right, so moving on from a project that I'm looking forward to seeing and potentially buying next, let's move on to a project that I got last night. One of my
Ooh.
favourites in the list, a piece I've been after for a while, is Winterton collection. Zachary
Ooh.
Winterton. I forgot his first name because earlier while we were doing pre-podcast stuff, I typed in Sean Winterton and couldn't find it because Sean Keaton and Winterton are two separate people. But yes,
Yes, believe it or not.
yeah, Zachary Winston, his collection. So going on to straight onto the aesthetic because I need to talk about the aesthetic because I adore it so much. What you're seeing on screen is the piece that I got yesterday of his newest collection. It's just so it gives such a Winston's collection gives such like a dark aesthetic, and it looks so cool. It's obviously quite gothic in some sorts of ways, but it always incorporates a bit of light, and how they use that light is what makes the piece so perfect, I believe.
Yeah.
So the current one I've got is just a skull divided in half with like a rainbow style thing in the middle, and the halo is separated as well with like the moon behind the skeleton with the clouds below. The aesthetic of it's so pleasing to the eye. It looks so like mysterious, but the light involved with it's just so perfect. Like, we don't just want dark light, makes it a lot better, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, one of the beautiful things that I kind of it's kind of a collection I feel like I relate to. Like, I don't have one yet. I'm definitely gonna track one down one day. But I kind of relate to it in a sense. You know, this whole kind of balance of light and dark because, you know, just tiny bit of a personal touch, you know, you kind of sometimes feel that, you know, everything is a bit dark, you know, and you might have a lot of stuff weighing on you, but the way I see these pieces is that yeah, sure, it may be dark, but there is always that little bit of light, you know? And I just feel like Zach really kind of captures that feeling, whether that's his intention or not. Like, for me, it's a beautiful way to kind of represent such a thing. And, you know, this is the thing, art is always up to interpretation and, you know, people can take it their own ways, and that's the beautiful thing about it. But it's a really nice style. It's a nice way to kind of incorporate different ideas, and the skeleton's just perfect.
Yeah,
You know, do I need to say more?
I find comfort in looking at his pieces, to be honest. Like, there's something,
Yeah.
like I say, the mysteriousness of it brings you in, but if you really like, just pay attention. I can look at these designs for ages, so just pay attention to what's really going on. There's always a certain mood to each piece, and it always feels slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it. I'm
absolutely.
so happy to own it. Speaking of owning it,
Oh,
there's a difference in how Winston does it. Now, I actually really like the way that Winston does his mints in a way. Now, I wouldn't want this with every project because it would be chaos, but it works well with the smaller projects. So these aren't one of ones. They're usually about 20 of 20s or so, maybe 25. Like this particular piece. Let me talk through how it happens. So on the Winston Discord, his projects aren't an open mint, and first to get there wins. Effectively, he'll put out a competition. I think it's like weekly, maybe maybe like fortnightly, 2 weekly. He'll put out
Yeah.
like a competition. Everyone has like equal rights to the competition. You just click a button and you're entered. There's no like, you don't have to make something or you don't have to do anything special. You just enter, and if you win, you win. I've entered many a times and always lost, and thankfully our good mate Courtney pointed out that there was one to enter. I think with about an hour left on it that I entered actually entered the competition. And next thing I know, I've been informed that I've won. So
yes, though.
yeah, and what he does is that he puts it on OpenSea, not for sale, but you can bid, and he tells you the price to bid. So this piece was 0.1 ETH for me, and then you DM say, look, this is my name on OpenSea, and he'll accept your thing. Like, if he gets higher offers, he doesn't accept them. Like, you've won, you get that for the price set, and it's job done. So I actually quite like the way it's done. Again, wouldn't like that with all projects because it would be sad and chaos. But I
Yeah.
think this is quite a fair way for each project, each like art piece everyone has equal rights to it, and everyone has a fair chance, the same chance as everyone else, to get it, and
Yeah.
it's going to be for a set price.
Yeah, and it also helps with gas as well. Like you don't have the dreaded gas wars when it comes to like say, if you drop like a 10K mint, everyone's going to be scrambling to get a piece, and obviously the gas is going to go stupidly high, especially with like the price of ETH at the moment, and just the network has been absolute chaos lately.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
So having it as like what it says a private sale, right?
Not really. Technically, yes, because it is. Yeah, because it's
So
unlisted.
you can, so you can kind of grab it. You can grab it whenever you want, right?
There is like a 24 to 48 hour limit to say, look, if you
Oh,
want this piece,
okay,
if you want it,
gotcha.
like he's not going to hold it forever, kind of thing. Which I think is fair. Like you've entered knowing that's going to be the case. It's not like it's a sudden surprise that you've got to pay now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like my first experience of wrapping ETH was for this. I've never done it before. I don't really bid on things. I just buy or I don't.
Yeah.
Now, gas being that the bitch that it is currently means I did pay $30 just to wrap my Ethereum when it's usually about $5 to $7. But hey ho, it was worth it.
Oh, absolutely. It's better than paying like $200-300 in gas for gas wall prices on a big mint. So I'd take that any day.
Speaking of obviously Winterton, because that's what we're speaking about right now, but also Sean Keaton, I believe I heard rumours, maybe facts, about a collab between Winterton and Sean Keaton, but I could be entirely wrong. Either way,
What a collab.
Yeah.
What a collab. Yes, I've been hearing about this too. And could you imagine how just brilliant that's going to look?
Yeah, for real.
It's a real thing, by the way.
We like the colour without
it's
darkness.
It's a real thing.
Like, Sean's got the colour, Winston's got most of the darkness. Like, that mixed up. It's going to be wacky, it's going to be trippy.
Their styles are just so unique. It's gonna be absolutely incredible.
100%.
I'm very excited to see what absolute beautiful madness they can come up with.
All right, pushing forward as we're already at the 47-minute mark. Let's move on to the final project we're talking about today, which is, of course, the Death Bats.
Hey, that's what we're all here for.
So, if you're not aware, even though we're filming this live in the Avenged Sevenfold Discord, Avenged Sevenfold are a metal band from Orange County, California, and they have gone into the NFT world. They did their ITEs earlier this year, which were 101 given away for free, although a few held back for things going on in the future. But this new Deathbat project is a 10,000 project. Now, we'll finish off talking about utilities because that's the biggest draw for a lot of fans. But art-wise, it's of course the Deathbat in a much more cartoony way. Got to, of course, once again shout out He Creative, who did the Goth Girlfriends. He did the art for all of this as well. So it's just a combination of skulls. From the ones that we can talk about currently, there's the one that you can see on your screen if you're watching on YouTube with the sunglasses, the cigarette in his mouth, and the king crown. Then you've also got like band members, different hairstyles. Like there'll be a Zachary hair, a Brooks hair, a Rev hair, all the band members really. Then you'll have other things like just like wackier stuff. Like I think there's a clown nose in one of them as well. Now I'm trying to remember which ones we have spoken about publicly and which we haven't. So I'm just going to leave it with those for the explanations. Yeah,
I heard there's a couple of pop culture references as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Very exciting. I'm really, really excited to see what the art's going to be. I just want a mohawk. I heard there's mohawks. I need one.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So yeah, these will be, the price hasn't been set for these ones yet because the release, the drop, is currently set for late November, early December. But it's not. We know that the band have said it's not going to be too expensive. The price will change. Like originally, I think it was 0.069. No, it was between 0.06 and 0.08. As ETH rises, they may change that to lower the price in terms of ETH to make sure it fits correctly and that it's affordable for a lot of fans.
Yeah, because ETH has gone up to like, what was it, 400 or something? Like 4,400?
It's chaos.
It hit a here. You know what? I'll actually look. It hit a all-time high. Okay, so it's we'll call it 4,300. It's right on the edge of that.
4,300 American dollars, that is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So obviously, you know, when this was first kind of talked about, you know, a couple of months ago, July, August, you know, the price point of 0.06 and 0.08 seemed a bit more reasonable. But you know, that may be adjusted because ETH doesn't like us.
Yeah, for real.
Well, maybe it does, just in the wrong way.
I mean, I can't really want ETH to go up because I have ETH, and I see that people that don't have ETH want it to go down, of course.
Yeah, I need to buy. But
So,
yeah, no.
going on to utilities,
Yes.
every single Event Sevenfold Deathbat NFT will have the base utilities, such as Skip the Line, and other things, which completely skip my mind right now.
Yeah, so there's
Web3,
Discord.
for example.
Yeah, there's Web3, there's Discord privileges. You get to be joining in with giveaways that the band are going to host for all kinds of things. Like, you know, I think there's things like guitars or just all kinds of stuff.
Big stuff.
There is a
yeah.
whole list somewhere. Yeah.
And of course, as you go up the chain, right at the top, you'll have free tickets for life, free meet and greets. I think there's even a few which involve having both of those for life. Now,
Yeah.
I think that all three of those, like, you're looking at less than 150 of them. So there's only like a smaller chance. There's still a chance, and if you get that, fuck yeah, that's amazing. That's worth it. But I'd say even for the price, that the smaller things are worth the money. Like skip the queue. I'm someone that's a front row guy. I will go up to like Wembley Arena and like from like 11 a.m, 10 a.m, and queue all day. It's worth it. But if I can just go out, like I can sleep until 1 o'clock if I fancy it. I can then go to the pub for a few like beverages, have a meal, and then just roll up and walk in. I'm gonna take advantage of that, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm a person who loves to get there early as well. The only problem is though you have to wait there all day. So having that ability to, you know, just be able to go in and, you know, still get front row while also be able to do something else with your day at the same time, it just gives you more out of the event, the experience, and it's a really cool perk to have. So, you know, whatever.
Especially if you're like us and in England. Cam Racken once told me and a few other mates that Americans, bands don't often tour too much in the winter in America because Americans don't like to queue up in the cold. We're hardcore in England, so it will be like I've queued literally in the snow before when I've seen Miles Kennedy live. Well, we will queue and we'll stay there and be cold. So even more so for English fans or anywhere that's a cold area, I'm gonna abuse this queuing system for sure.
Can attest, have waited in the absolute bitter cold for gigs. Worth it.
Definitely.
But, you know, that's just one utility, and that comes with every deathbat.
Yeah.
So, you know, just imagine what other things they could have in store. You know, there was a whole list that they talked about potential perks, like, you know, guitar lessons, Zoom calls, merch, you know, exclusive merch drops and things like that. There's going to be utility for Sandbox, which we talked about in our last episode. Go check that out. You know, there's probably going to be like future. I mean, just there's so much that they could do with this. And that just comes from one NFT, you know.
Yeah.
So it really baffles me that this is actually a thing, like in a good way. Like no other artist has done this. No other artist is going out of their way like this to provide for their fans. And, you know, I think it's going to be one of those things that really kind of turns heads in the mainstream and kind of shows people that, hey, look, we get that you think NFTs are like this big bad wolf that's like a scam and, you know, causing all these problems, but just hear us out, give us a try, because it's genuinely got some amazing perks that are worth it, you know?
Yeah, like I said, Zoom calls are part of it. Like, I forgot to mention, there's also like a couple. I think like it's 4 per band member, I believe. Don't quote me on the 4, but there are like experiences with band members. If you get a certain NFT, like if you get the Sinister Gates NFT, for example, and that's not based on design, that's just based on trait, you'll have guitar lessons with Sin, I believe, once or so a year. Drum lessons with
That would be amazing.
Brooks, going to golf with Shadows, which, as much as I'd love that, I'd probably have it once then sell it for the experience afterwards, because I am so shit at golf that
I've played golf once and that didn't go well. So I feel ya.
I would not be okay. I'd use it once, don't get me wrong, but the beauty of NFTs is that I can have that experience once and go, I won't need this again. Here you
Yeah.
go, someone else for a fee.
Yeah, but there is the possibility you could do something else on it as well. I think it's generally just you get the experience to hang out with that band member or do something, you know. So yeah, is one of those once in a lifetime opportunities, except for you could probably do it like once a year or whatever it is. So
yeah,
maybe a couple times. Depends.
They'll have
Really
a lot more in store.
depends.
I might be wrong on the Sinister Gates guitar things. It might just be to have a customized guitar every year. But they'll announce more as it comes to fruition.
Yeah, some of the stuff isn't set in stone just yet, but it has kind of been just generally discussed, you know, getting everyone's thoughts and just, you know, seeing. It's very community based,
Of
is
course, yeah.
what I'm picking up on. Like, the band want to do this not for themselves, but for their fans. They want to provide something that people are going to enjoy, people are going to make the most of, people are going to want.
Yeah.
You know, Matt's always talking about, you know, trying to get unique holders in as well. So they're even planning the release very carefully, making sure that as many people can get in as possible, just so it's fair for everyone, you know?
100%. Last thing I'll say on that, because we are hitting the hour mark, is that if you're listening now and you're somehow not aware, you can go into the Events Info Discord, and you can also go on to eventsinfo.io to get yourself whitelisted.
Yeah, get on the whitelist, come and join us, and then come hang out in the Discord, because we have some good NFT discussions and also just general music discussions.
Yup.
Just a lot of good stuff. Come and vibe with us, please.
So,
We'll
to finish
be more
off...
than happy to help you.
Yeah, easily. To finish ourselves off, that sounded wrong, we will quickly read out through the flaws, and then we'll hit the outro music, and then if there's anything, because we're recording live, if there's any questions, we'll do that after we finished the outro video for YouTube. So, flaws, are we ready?
Yes,
Who's
I
doing?
am.
Oh, you're doing flaws. Go ahead. Wonderful, Felicia.
Okay, so we have CryptoPunks at 98.5 ETH, the Bored Ape Yacht Club at 35 ETH, Bored Ape Kennel Club at 1.699, Mutant Ape Yacht Club at 3.8, Wicked Craniums at 0.18, Bones Club Heritage at 0.045, Koala Intelligence Agency at 0.11, Lazy Lions at 1.28, Cryptodes at 4.169, Cool Cats at 7.123, Wall Street Bulls at 0.197,
Whoop, whoop.
Metasaurus at 0.395, John Keaton at 0.11, the Winterton Collection at 0.24, Almost Fancy at 0.5, and Goth Girlfriends at 0.666 SOL.
Yeah, that's the minimum
Wonderful.
price.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Cool. So, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with episode 9. Stick around in the live if you want questions answered, but for now, goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for coming. Have a good one.